Restaurant Unstoppable. What the most successful restaurateurs know that you don't.
I got into the industry, I used to hate when people said this, they fell into it. But I literally fell into the industry and no, like, I don't like the statement, so I wouldn't say it because I didn't have words. The reality for me is I wanted to be in real estate, and that is where I had my sights. I was studying real estate during a period of time. I thought that restaurants would be a means to an end, and it's never ended, simply put. So I got into restaurants just, as a part-time cook many years ago, and that turned to a full-time cook, full-time cook, doing openings, working plenty of overtime during periods when restaurants were short-staffed, up to this point. And so I have been able to realize my goal of real estate ownership as well, adjacent to being a owner and operator in restaurants, which is the weirdest thing.
Well, I was going to say, this industry is so much about real estate, especially when you get to the point where you're helping other people open restaurants and you're really just growing people and creating opportunity, right? So I feel like your dream of being a real estate individual is still totally realistic, no?
Well, it is realistic from the vantage point of business. However, chefs don't always find themselves in positions where they aspire to really understand business. Good chefs, or great chefs, understand costs. The topic that comes up most in kitchens is food costs, labor costs, but a lot of chefs don't get into how much we're paying for rent, how much we're paying for taxes, what's the water bill, all those very specific items, how much rent you're paying per square foot. And so with that being stated, I had a need to understand those things and understand how those costs put pressure on my labor costs and my food costs. I didn't want to show up to work every day and grind my guys out and be ground out by ownership and not have a clear understanding of what the next step was. And so I was fortunate to be in a restaurant, the restaurant being MK Restaurant, which was open for a little shy of 2 decades. And the owner was very, very adamant about helping us all understand how each facet of the business impacted another layer of the business. And we went through this intense training that dealt with the developmental space surrounding ownership, and not just ownership of the overall company, but ownership of our space. Ownership of a station, ownership of a shift, ownership of a guest experience, ownership of the relationship between the farmer or our dairy provider, which is still a farmer, and what that meant, what that relationship meant to us getting the best product and also getting the product at a time that was conducive to us being able to store and produce at a high level. And so when people think about ownership, a lot of times they really only think about ownership from a top-down approach, right? The owner is the person who, signs my check. But we weren't trained that way, and I immediately embraced that whole philosophy. And I don't train my team like that. I think that everyone in the building controls how much money they're going to make, how fast they're going to make it. I don't subscribe to the old rules of you wait a year and you get a raise. If there's money there, people should be afforded the opportunity to grow their income. And we encourage people to be driven by growing their income.
So some of the big things that I want to just reinforce on what you dropped on us, and that was an awesome run you just went on is the understanding the why, right? And I think it's not enough just to tell people what to do. What Michael Kornick was doing was showing you guys why to do it and showing you the big picture. So you're not just being told to go through the motions, you're understanding there's a reason why to do it this way. And I love that sense of ownership too. You got to treat it like you own it, but you also have to empower your people to have the tools and to give them the paths of growth so they can grow and show them how to do it. You know, you're shaking your head as I'm saying this. What goes through your mind?
I'm shaking my head in agreement.